There's leprechauns, unicorns, and the Black Mafia.
Oh, come on, man. Now, Bumpy, what's his last name? I forgot.
Bumpy Black
Bumpy
Man?
Johnson. He was a real gangster.
Okay, apparently all these are real gangsters. I'm just saying.
It's based on a real story, but
But this isn't even the first movie about him.
But apparently so is the Loch Ness Monster. I'm just saying.
There's a Loch Ness Monster Mafia?
Oh, you never heard of them?
Dude, I totally want in on that.
I thought the Black Mafia was called Gangsters.
Yeah, see, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, I
50 Cent and DMX. You
Yeah.
never heard those guys?
Oh yeah, but those, that's not a mafia. Those are just those are rappers. What rapper is a real gangster these days? Those guys got mansions in the suburbs. Please,
Just because you
so do
shoot
gangsters.
someone, until you actually know how to hold your gun up right, you're not a real gangster. That's all there is to it.
no, and I'm just joking around. I mean, honestly, I never heard the story before. This guy that Denzel Washington is playing.
Apparently, there's a good reason for that, though, because he didn't want you to. The guy in this movie who Cuba Gooding Jr. plays was famous. Everyone knew about that guy. And he's barely in the movie because he's all like, yo, what's up? I'm a mad daddy pimp gangster.
It's funny because he dressed the way white guys dress on Halloween when they're trying to be pimps.
Exactly. But this was the 70s, so. You know,
That's
be fair, it
that's
was
the origin.
70s,
Yes,
right? That's
the 70s was like Halloween.
But
Yeah.
but the guy this guy who everybody at that point knew about, who was a famous black gangster, Denzel Washington's character Frank Lucas was the real power behind the scenes. He was the guy who was bringing all the heroin into Harlem, and nobody knew it because the boy was good.
Yeah. Now, that good segue into that. What the story is about. Apparently, Frank Lucas is a guy who mentored under another gangster, this guy named Bumpy Johnson, played by Clarence Williams III, who doesn't have a crazy afro this time. and
I thought that guy was dead.
Yeah, I did
There's
too.
no killing him.
I know. Yeah, I think he was a ghost in that movie.
No matter how many movies he dies in, he keeps coming
Yeah,
back.
but so when Bumpy dies, of course, the next one to air is Frank because he's learned everything from this guy. And he's learned to be caring about Harlem. Harlem loves this guy, but at the same time, he's learned how to be pretty ruthless. As a matter of fact, the movie opens up with a guy being set on fire. So it's like, God damn, But so, and this is pretty much the rise and fall of this gangster. I guess the other character we have in there is
Russell Crowe.
Is Russell Crowe, who plays the cop. Probably decent to a fault. I mean, everybody makes fun of this guy because he's so honest and decent. He eventually crossed paths with Frank Lucas to bring down this big heroin ring that he has, which is pretty clever, I must say. Going to Vietnam, he took his ass to Vietnam, made a deal with the heroin dealers there to get heroin shipped back in the bodies are the caskets of dead soldiers.
Yeah, using the American military as his mules, basically.
No, you're actually spoiling the last part.
That's not really. They say this in every synopsis. I mean, this is known about this guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
he wasn't using the caskets at first. He was just having it just the soldiers themselves.
Right.
Because the soldiers are over there getting high all the time. He just paid them an extra grand. An extra 100,000, and they were glad to bring him his cut.
And think about the guy. I mean, what balls? This is the middle of the goddamn Vietnam War, and he just says, "You know what? I know a guy in Bangkok who can hook me up with someone." It's like, okay, I need you to take me to the guy who actually is the warlord in charge of growing all this stuff who our American troops are fighting against. And sure enough, hey, man, you want to make a deal? Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
like, wow, dude. You're like, I could never even imagine having balls that size. He's got to carry those things around in a wheelbarrow. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that guy's like, you look just like Denzel Washington. Sure, I'd make a deal with you. So you love the movie.
Dude, I so love this movie. I mean, come on, what is not to love about this? First of all, it's directed by Ridley Scott. And when Ridley Scott is on, the man is on. And this is one of his on movies. This movie is actually, I put it up with one of the top 5 American crime films of all time. I hold this with Goodfellas. I hold this with Scarface. I hold this with The Godfather. This movie was incredible. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. You couldn't take the smile off my face with a sandblaster. I was so loving this movie.
And we've tried.
Yeah, and you were on heroin at the time yourself, so I mean, it's explainable. Now, do you feel this way that it is actually one of the top 5 gangster movies out there?
You know what? I don't know, because I think I fall somewhere probably in between these two guys, and maybe even a little bit more like Cyrus, where I thought this was a really good movie. The acting is incredible, such great characters, and I love the plot, and it's based on a real story, and yet there was something missing to really pick me up and smack me around the way Goodfellas did, or even Casino. I mean, I can't tell you what it was. Almost like at times it was like just kind of maybe wasn't hitting the points I wanted, didn't have the high notes. At the same time, it's an awesome movie. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year.
I think this was a really good movie. It's the main thing for me though is that, like I said, except for the very end, which I can't say anything about, but I was very satisfied with the way they decided to go with it. But except for that, it just kept not quite reaching any peaks for me. It was like a lot of this I've seen before. Not, it's not so much that it's just carbon copied. It's just the basic setup. We've seen this before. We've seen the cop who's like the super good cop, but nothing else in his life works out because of it. Like his wife is going to leave him, and most of the other cops don't like him, but he just insists on doing the right thing. We've seen this character before. We've seen this type of gangster before. The guy who rises to the top and is like really good at what he does because he's doing stuff different than all the other guys are, and the other gangsters all hate him, but he don't care because he's too mad skills.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like the Pablo Escobar story that everybody seems to want to make, except, okay, here it is. It's Denzel Washington.
Well, that's the thing about this movie is that, now take the fact that I am black out of this. I will say that the thing that probably sets this movie apart from other gangster movies is that it is told from the black perspective. And apparently I don't know how much they exaggerated, but apparently this is a true story that we've never heard of. So we didn't even know this.
Is this a remake of an Eddie Murphy movie?
No. What does that even mean?
Come on, man. It doesn't have the accuracy of Harlem Nights.
I mean, if this was a remake of if this was a remake of an Eddie Murphy movie, it would be like a fat gangster. It'd be Eddie Murphy in a fat gangster suit.
Oh God, please no, not. Shh, God, he's listening.
It would be like the Godmama or something.
Eddie Murphy would insist on playing everybody's role.
Yeah, exactly.
I swear to God, if we see Eddie Murphy dip his fingers into gangster movie, then I'm just gonna. That's it. I quit.
Can I just say like a couple of good things and bad things about this movie? Sure. For me, I don't even say real bad. I mean, because the movie is good. The movie's very good, actually. I mean, really, out of all the stuff we've seen this year, how can you not say that this is not one of the better movies we've seen? Looks great. The acting, I mean, Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington, two of our best. I mean, needless to say, great acting. A bunch of cameos by rappers, other smaller actors we haven't seen in a while, turning in really good performances. I mean, really, Scott should be commended for that, because I've seen these guys in some other movies where they weren't so good.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Exactly.
He gave us Cuba back for a few brief moments. We actually got to enjoy Cuba acting again.
Well, he had nowhere to go but up, man.
No, this is true, but it took me back to the days when we used to see Cuba Gooding Jr. on screen and go, oh God, I love this guy.
Plus, it reminded us it was Halloween time, because it's just like watching every other guy when they play exaggerated pimp.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, but for him, any movie without a talking dog in it is a step up.
Or where he's pretending to be gay or something. You know?
But I tell you, I think the thing that didn't really, and this is probably for a lot of the movies, this is a minor thing, but for this movie, it was a big thing for me. The music just didn't set the right mood for me. A lot of it to me sounded like cop show music. And that's just me. I'm not expecting anybody else to agree with me or anything. I'm just saying, for me, it was like that. Where you mentioned other gangster sagas or gangster epics, where if it's in a certain period, they really take you to that period. It was certain parts in this movie where I felt like I wasn't really transported to that period enough.
See, it's funny. I felt transported almost for the same reason you didn't, because there are times when there's scenes of the cops driving around and he got the stock of the footage. I mean, just the way the film looked just right. It had such a feeling. It had such that same feeling of watching those cop shows from the 70s. And I was like, damn, this really makes me feel like it's back at that time.
Oh, and when Across 110th Street comes on, dude.
But see, that was one of the best uses of soundtrack. That took me there.
But that was like a high point musically in the film, where that just comes on. Me and Martin look at each other. Me and Leon look at each other. We're both nodding our heads, and we both realize that we're both nodding our heads to the song.
But at the same time, I mean, I'm glad they didn't go overboard with the soundtrack. You know, I'm glad like Denzel Washington wasn't going to get a hamburger and they're like, Boogie Nights.
They
didn't get all Quentin Tarantino on it.
No. Yeah, exactly.
No.
How awesome was Ruby Dee in this movie?
Who was Ruby Dee, by the way?
She was his mother.
She's great.
She was the only old black woman in the movie.
Like I said, there's so many good things about this movie. I'd have a hard time saying, "Oh, this was bad," because there isn't really anything you can say. It's just I have a hard time saying about anything, "Oh, this was fantastic."
Well, they're pushing for this to be like an Oscar movie, and they're kind of pushing too hard. I think just let the movie be. Same way with B movie. You know,
if I'd gone into it with less expectations, I might have actually felt better about it.
Yeah. Right. Well, you know what? To me, like the second half of this movie had almost a 3:10 to Yuma vibe to it, especially the closer it gets toward the end.
Well, I mean, I see where you're coming from with that. That's what I actually love about this movie. The thing that draws me in the most is the fact that here are two characters, a cop and a criminal. And we've seen this head to head. How many times before? 1 billion, right? But this time, we love the criminal just as much as we love the cop. And they're both stand-up guys in their own way, and they both live by very strict ethical codes that they live by, and you respect them both. It's almost like a samurai movie to an extent of how much these two guys believe in these completely different moralities, but you love them for those moralities, and watching them go head to head and knowing that one of them has to lose.
Which, as you said, Leon, is actually kind of similar to 3:10 to Yuma, and the similar part Russell Crowe played in that, except in that he's kind of he's the bad guy. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, I mean, you make a good point, because while Denzel Washington go around shooting people in the head and shit, we know he's kind of bad. He has his faults. You know?
But they had it coming.
He had his faults like murder. You know,
but he never shoots anybody that doesn't have it.
No,
but they were all bad.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that Russell Crowe's character, he's pretty flawed himself. I mean, the guy is ruining his family life.
Yeah, he's a sleazoid cheating husband who we see with how many girls in the movie?
And as they point out, as one point of honor, he doesn't cheat on the law, but he fucks up the whole rest of his life left and right.
Yeah.
But that's what's so great is neither of these guys are truly pristine, but both of them have such solid ethical codes. We as audiences just fall in love with them both and respect them.
Now, here's an important aspect to the movie right here. Black don't crack, but Denzel Washington, damn. I mean, is this guy, what's he doing? I mean, is he a robot? Is he putting on like a rubber face or something? Because this dude ain't aging.
He drinks the blood of virgins to stay young.
I mean, exactly. I mean, is he wearing like an afro toupee or something? Because he hasn't changed in the last 30 years. No. And this dude must be like, what, 78 now?
No, he's 50. Oddly enough, this is what's weird. He's 53, which he was born like a few months either before or after Jerry Seinfeld. Like, they're both the exact same age.
Damn.
And they're both going head to head this weekend. They're both 53 years old.
Black people use Botox just like white people. Just you can't see the lines as well.
I don't believe that. Black people don't use Botox. They take like chicken grease and put it in there. And I believe that's what that boy is doing, because damn, I mean, I truly do want to be Denzel Washington now.
You got to give it. You always got to give it to him. But here he is. He's playing pretty much like the villain of the piece, and you root for him the whole time. You don't want him to get caught.
Well, it's his. I mean,
he has strung out the whole black community on this heroin, but you like him because, well, at least he gave him the good shit.
Right.
Yeah, his whole the fact that he wins you over with his whole moral code of, I'm going to offer a better product at half the price than the white community's offering them, and you're kind of like,
which is ironic because
right.
the reason heroin, in the first place that this whole problem started with Russell Crowe deciding, I'm going to find out who's doing this, is because his partner like ODs on the stuff, and he only ODs because nobody expected shit to be pure back then. Once you get used to it, well, hell, that's great. That's the ideal, isn't it? I mean, actually, the movie makes a strong point underneath what it's saying for legalization throughout the whole thing.
No, and
it's like a lot of these problems that Denzel Washington is kind of talking about wouldn't even be there if it was legalized. Not to mention the number one point of the film, the corruption in the police force.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the cops are the real gangsters in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're the
right
real scumbags, the real evil guys.
Speaking of scumbags and great acting,
with Josh Brolin,
where the hell was Josh Brolin hiding? Man, this year is he incredible.
Apparently behind your couch with a knife, from what I hear.
If there's a script out there and they say we need asshole for this script, then they get Josh Brolin, because that's all he plays these days.
Yeah, but between this and No Country for Old Men, man, is he good.
No, he's great.
He is just, I mean, he is so despicable in this, but in such a way that it's just like, every time he walks on screen, you're like, oh, I hate this guy, but you're supposed to, and it's great.
As a matter of fact, I don't like Josh Brolin. He's been playing so many of these kind of characters. If I ever see him, I'm gonna be like, man, you an asshole.
Oh, come on, man, come on. He was the big older brother in the Goonies. Go back.
That was him.
That was him. Go back to that solid heart of the Goonies.
Damn, that motherfucker's got old.
Dude, the Goonies was like 21 years ago.
You got old.
He's no Denzel Washington.
No, he ain't no Denzel Washington. In fact, I think Josh Brolin is who Denzel Washington turns into at night before he goes to bed.
Hey man, when Denzel Washington was Josh's age, he was making Virtuosity with Russell Crowe. So
one thing I thought was funny was how Denzel Washington Washington was just so cool up until somebody really fucked up.
Yeah.
And then he turned into pretty much you when you haven't slept. Screaming at people, slapping around, get the fuck out of my house.
It's a $25,000 alpaca, motherfucker. You love that shit.
Simple Simon motherfuckers.
Oh, I love that.
Motherfucker,
No, that was
awesome.
that was a point. I was thinking, damn, is Denzel Washington on his own shit? 'Cause he just flipped. I mean, he brought back Training Day into this movie.
Well, no, that's what's so. I mean, he did, but he didn't. He is not riffing on Training Day here. He is going off in a whole other direction, creating a whole new badass motherfucker.
He's one of the finest actors we have today. He really is, and so is Russell Crowe. The problem being, a lot of people knowing that and expecting to see that are in for heat because they're in the movie together for all 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're trying to make it sound like Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington together again since Virtuosity. And first of all, Virtuosity sucks. I don't even know if I want to see this shit. But
don't you fuck with Virtuosity.
I will
motherfucker.
fuck with
Okay, you're
Virtuosity.
you're the guy who likes Virtuosity. You can
stop
put that
it.
on your
Stop
resume.
Yeah, please don't. I mean, I like the way you act like I'm the only one who doesn't like Virtuosity.
Yeah, even those two guys don't like Virtuosity.
Yeah, they'll admit it. Like,
Yeah, they have. They are doing it in their interviews, laughing about how bad it was.
No, they were like, "You remember we did that piece of shit?" And they're like, "Yeah."
It's like, remember when you spit on me, Russell?
No, I honestly got to say, the only reason why I always held Virtuosity, close to my breast was because it had this really cool actor in it who was the villain, who I was like, dude, this guy's going to be the next big thing.
Yeah, but he's made
that's
that
Russell
villain was
Crowe.
Russell Crowe, and he's made good movies after
Yeah,
that.
no.
So you don't
I'm
have
just
to
giving you a
rely.
hard time on. I just threw that out there, and you guys jumped on me like I.
Of course, we're gonna jump on you because you were the only person on the planet that likes Virtuosity. Of
I
course,
don't
we're gonna,
like
This
Virtuosity.
is not us jumping on you. This is an intervention.
That's exactly because you like that guy he grew up with. Then like he wins the Academy Award. He comes home with you like, hey Russell, remember that time you made Virtuosity? You won't let him live it down. Like,
Fuck, come on.
So, dude, I won a couple of Oscars.
All right, so
Yeah,
this is
but
going
you
long
made
right
that
here.
crappy
All
movie.
right, let's wrap this up. All right, so I give this movie full price. I mean, regardless of whatever kind of flaws I had with it, is one of the better movies I've seen this year.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you. It's not for me in the top 5 gangster movies, but it is one of the better movies this year, and it is full price.
I will say it's in the top 5 of all black gangster movies. I don't know.
Well, there's only like 2, right?
Exactly.
There's this and Harlem Nights.
no. There's that one where Lawrence Fishburne played Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, Bob.
Jack of all cities. or something.
No,
God.
God damn it.
Jack of all
was
Begin with an
cities.
H.
Was it?
Wait,
Hoodlum.
New Jack City.
Hoodlum.
New Jack City.
Yeah, it's
Oh, of course, it's New Jack City.
Yeah, I was
Hoodlum.
gonna say, yeah.
But we're
New
talking
Jack City,
Hoodlum, the gangster
Hoodlum.
movie.
Hoodlum.
With Tim
Oh, yeah.
Roth
Yeah,
and
and
Harlem
Morpheus.
Nights.
Okay, well that's 5.
Okay, well,
Wait a minute, let's go through this and name them now. What
Okay,
is it?
Hoodlum,
New Jack City.
New Jack City,
Harlem Nights. There's got to be something else.
Wait, what?
Bebe's Kids? That
Bebe's Kids.
Okay, I was gonna say it was one with Mario Van Peebles, but that was New Jack
City
City.
of God.
no, they don't count as black people. Those Brazilian. Those ain't real black people.
Yeah.
But-
Those eight
those are
real
wannabes.
black
so see, we
people.
got only 4 black movies, only 4 black gangster
Oh,
movies we
whoa,
can
whoa,
name.
whoa! What about Idlewild?
No, that movie.
Now,
don't-
that's a black
It's
gangster
a black
film.
gangster movie.
It is definitely a black gangster movie. Come on, what are you upset?
Oh,
You're upset
oh,
about
oh,
Idlewild, but
so
not
what-
Harlem Nights?
What do we have to? We have to start pulling out Petey Wheatstraw or Black Godfather.
No, we don't
Oh,
have to go
there
that
you
far.
Hell Up in Harlem.
Okay, we got our 5 gangster movies. This was definitely in the top 5 of all black gangster movies. What do you give?
Dude, I'm gonna bust the cherry on this bitch. I'm gonna say Better Than Sex.
Wow.
Better than
Better
Sex.
Than Sex. I hold that this is going to be considered one of the top 5 American crime films ever. That there might be people. Right now you guys might be going, yeah, that's good, but 10 years from now, people are going to be mentioning this still in the same breath with Scarface and with Goodfellas and with The Godfather.
I don't think they will, but I think they'll still remember it as one of the better films from this year.
Even Scarface isn't considered one of the great gangster movies.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
just-
Except
it's
for
just a
by
fun
Mexicans
movie.
and black
It's-
people for
well,
some
that's
reason.
the thing. People love it. It's fun, but as far as being a good movie, not so much.
You can't drive by a ghetto side of town without seeing somebody selling like a floor rug of Scarface. What is
Or
that?
wearing the T-shirt.
It's like instead of selling like Velvet Jesus, they sell Velvet Scarface.
I know. It's
Any
weird.
movie that 25 years later they make a video game out of, something's going on.
Well, we'll see how many black people die behind this movie, and that's going to be the breaking point to see how great this movie will be.
I give it full price.
Give it full price?
Yes.
All right. And damn, our first Better Than Sex.
I busted the cherry on it. Better Than Sex, baby.
You really hurt the feelings of your flashlight.
Yeah, that's about to say. It's because you ain't been getting no sex. Anyway.